Scoggins. All three of us were at the Twins game last night. There was a pretty big moment late in the game when Eddie Rosario stepped to the dish, pinch hit, 3-run home run, essentially won the game for the Twins, a team that looks like they had kind of forgotten how to play baseball. I think it was a pretty big moment in the season, at least for July 18th.
I asked you guys after the game, hit of the season? To me, it felt like it, right?
At least to this point.
Yeah, I was going to say up to this point.
Up to this point.
Absolutely.
Considering, the lead had shrunk, they haven't been playing well. That was another, if they lose that game, and it felt like it was going that direction, the narrative was going to be the fundamentals have gone completely out the window with this team because you had, 2 more errors, a bad base running mistake that killed an inning. And so to have that, and then whether Rocco wanted to say Rosario was benched or not, it felt like a benching, right?
Just a day off.
Just a day off.
Just a
scheduled day off.
It's a maintenance day.
Everyone needs a scheduled day off like 2
gonna
days
take
after they return, right?
That's right.
Danny's Declan's tired. I mean, he runs the camera. He's very tired.
Seth, right now, scheduled day off.
Scheduled day off. Exactly. But yes.
All those things, and, I mean, just the charge that sent. Now, I don't really believe in carryover effect in baseball because there's so many variables, but it definitely probably in a big way did a 180 on the mood that was going to be in the clubhouse. And this team's been pretty even keel, but I think even didn't Rosario after the game said guys were down in the dugout?
Yep, down on the dugout.
So you never know if that was going to spiral, even more so.
Yeah, I think it definitely instills a confidence that was waning. It's weird. Chip's right. Clubhouse-wise, this team from Rocco on down does not change much. Mm-hmm. But I think we've definitely seen in the past, few weeks or more, a team that on the field looks down. So it wasn't translating to guys all of a sudden melting down in the clubhouse, but it definitely was translating to errors and mistakes and things that we did not see in April, May, and June. So that's where I think there's the potential for positive carryover effect. Is it provided a jolt that this team needed badly.
And what's the concern level with just kind of some of the sloppy play we've seen?
We've seen a lot of errors. The base running mistake last night. I mean, even there are a couple plays that Miguel Sano made that look like they look way harder than they need to be at third base. There's a lot of that going on with the Twins right now. They're not necessarily having great at-bats. They don't look anything like the team that jumped out to an 11.5 game lead at one point in this division.
Yeah, I think that's more so than just looking at the standings. A lot of it's just the optics, where you're like, they're doing things that are uncharacteristic of what we saw the first 2 months.
Absolutely.
And so I think that's where some of the angst is coming from fans. It's like, it's one thing to lose, it's another to lose when you're not playing that well.
Mm-hmm. Right. And plus, I think fans are, rightfully so, probably as July 31st approaches, becoming impatient for a trade.
Sure.
And are you going to do something about this? Are you going to get more bullpen help, which they desperately at this point need? Who's left out there aside from Taylor? Starting pitching-wise, it's been decent now. Gibson was good last night. Martin Perez, God bless him, on Wednesday was good. But the interesting thing to me, too, is, and I think this is fair, I think as this team went from that unbelievable start and started to wane, which is not surprising in baseball, I think the question also becomes, what's Rocco going to do and how is he going to react? Because he's a very sort of Zen-like live and let live type of guy.
Sure.
And when you're, 40 and 18, that's perfect. That works great. But when your third baseman is now falling down to make every play, which is happening, I think there does become a problem there.
I was thinking last night, I was like, what will it take for him to lose his mind after a game, Rocco?
He won't.
Under what circuit? I mean, at some point...
That's a good question. That's a really interesting question because there has to be something.
Do we have breaking news here?
John Morosi. Twins at a top talent evaluator in San Francisco for last night for Madison Bumgarner. Noah Syndergaard matchup. Minnesota has top prospect to make a strong play for either starter and has interest for the Giants relievers.
That's his Zulgad plan.
John Morosi.
The rentals. I love the rentals. Yep. The rentals are... Don't try and get controllable pitching because you're not going to give up the price of what that would take. So let's get past that. I know Marcus Stroman would be great and he'd be here for 2 years or something. But let's get past that because we all know this. This team is not going to trade Royce Lewis. They're not going to trade Alex Kirilloff. No. And Bruce Dargrattle is probably a long shot. So let's get past that because every team that's got controllable pitching, right, is going to ask for those guys. At least one, if not two.
As they should.
Mad Bum and a guy like Smith is going to cost you a ton, but I don't think it takes from those top two.
Do you guys think that it's the right idea to have prospects, quote unquote, off limits, like Lewis and Kirilloff?
I've come off that. I used to be you can't touch prospects. I mean, they're gold, and you can't mortgage your future. But having fallen into that trap of hearing how great Sano was going to be, and just wait on Sano. He's going to be,
Still waiting.
A superstar. There's no guarantees, and could you trade him and they go somewhere else and be great? Yeah, they could, but you also are not guaranteed to be in this spot again where you have a shot to go win a World Series. And so I'm less worried about 5 years down the road than I am today.
But my thing for Chipper for this year is this: do the best deal that you can for 2019. So I'm not worried about a pitcher that I can control because that's fantastic. Okay, that would be great. But it's going to cost you. I would much prefer to do a couple or three prospects, and it might cost me, but to do 3 prospects that don't come from my top 3 to get 2 guys. And you know what? Mad Bum, Will Smith, I can sign him if I like him, right?
Sure.
I can sign him.
I will say sometimes the best trade for 2019 is also one that's good for 2020 and 2021. And you do have to think about giving up your top guys to make that happen. If the best trade if the trade that's best for you now is also best for your future, I think it's a decision that you really have to weigh. And I hate the fact that they come out and not come out and say, but essentially insinuate that some guys just can't be touched. Because I don't think that there's anyone in the system worth that.
Do you guys think, though, in your heart of hearts, if the asking price is one of, if not both of those top 2, do you think that Falvey would move either of those guys? Because
not both. I don't think he'd do both.
I don't think he'd do one of them.
I don't
those
think
top
he would.
2. I don't think he would. So I'm trying to get to a place
I don't know.
where they can make a trade that's going to benefit them right now that they will actually make.
Well,
what I don't want is this whole thing to get down to the 31st of July and be talking and say, we just can't do that. And so now we'll get some bum from a bullpen because it's going to satisfy people.
That's the Dana Ainge formula in basketball. That's what I mean. How many times in basketball have we, over the last 3 or 4 years, have we heard just how close the Boston Celtics were to getting a star, but they didn't want to give up their assets. And because of that, now they're not a team that has a chance to win a title.
Well, and you can talk yourself in circles on that, right? To where you do nothing.
Sure.
You could just get paralyzed by, what if, Royce Lewis becomes a superstar and we had to give him up and we don't win it. You could just paralyze yourself. At some point, don't you just have to go for it?
And you know what?
Absolutely, except I'm trying to get to a point where they go for it by doing something I think that they'll do. Because, yes, I agree fundamentally. I'm with you. I just don't think that they'll do that, and I think that they're going to try and just. My point is this, because this is the thing that drives me the craziest about executives in sports. Don't get cute.
Yeah.
Like don't think if I just wait longer.
So Joe, what do you think the level of reliever or package you would get giving up one of those top 2 prospects versus not having to give up?
I think I could.
What's the gap there?
I think I could probably put together a deal for San Francisco that would hurt me, but I would do it. But I think the gap, because both those contracts are expiring, would be less. Here's my one question, because I'm not going to dismiss this one. What can they get for, and are they including Sano in trade talks now?
I think it'd be smart too.
I would do it.
I agree, but I'm saying but he's not going to get you both those guys.
You're not selling high.
No, but you are still. There is still potential
there.
And
sure.
maybe for a guy like him, a change of scenery where there's not as much pressure in another market as there was here when he originally came up could be good for him, and that lessens the load of prospects that you have to give up.
I would do that and put Gonzalez in there and just roll with it.
So would I.
In
fact,
it wouldn't be like, just go retire Sano. I mean, there'd be some.
I think Gonzalez is a better player.
There would be
more
some.
Professional.
There would be some trepidation about Sano. You still think maybe could reach the level, but at this point.
But you know what you say? Hey,
you have your opportunity. Yeah,
you can fix them.
Yeah,
we know you can do it.
Yeah,
and my caution to the Twins is, and I know that Sano shows flashes, so I completely get this. But my caution is, don't let him become Andrew Wiggins. Don't let him get to that point where you just basically throw up your hands, because he will. Because the thing that those two have in common is it's not a lack of ability, it's a lack of ability to execute that ability.
The thing they don't have in common, however, is their contracts, and that's a huge difference here.
That's huge.
You're not paying Miguel
But that's my
Sano.
point. Don't let him become
I don't
that.
think they would.
And they won't. But you know what? He's hitting a little bit now. They found something. I don't know if it'll last. I don't think it will personally. So include him in trade talks.
Yep.
I think it'd be wise to, but it's Chip Scoggins, it's Judd Zulgad. They're the Conduits of Trouble. You can find their podcast on
it's
Score
happened.
North. They're going to record that right now. I'm Danny Cunningham. We'll be back with Cluster Fun on Monday.